How can we protect ourselves from evil brought on by others and from falling into the temptation to do evil ourselves? Can we, have evil brought onto us from others? Is that possible?
Yes, yes. There is such a thing as a curse, and a curse can, in some ways, be cast upon others, for sure. Now, of course, most of the time, if a curse happens, it seems to happen to children. And no question, though, that there is, people who enter into demonic rituals to curse and to possess, to have Satan possess a person. Now, a child is very vulnerable. An adolescent is still vulnerable. Very hard to do that with an adult. An adult, especially who has faith, who has the sacraments, very hard, to curse that person. A child, however, who's innocent, that has happened. And of course, in the case of Robbie Mannheim, right, here you have the aunt of Robbie, who is she's a spiritualist, right?
Oh,
and so
okay.
she's encouraging him to use the Ouija board, though he himself is not so much doing it, but her presence there, her encouragement of him, her working the Ouija board with him, that's what brings on, he's a young person, right? He doesn't know really any better. And of course, he becomes possessed because of that. There have been cases of children who've been possessed for those reasons. But, by and large, most possessions do not occur because somebody curses a young person as a child. Although Anna Eklund, that certainly is the case. The father definitely tried to curse his child, and she did become possessed, and that was a very well-known case, a well-documented case of possession and exorcism. But on the other hand, though, there are many other, most of the time it really does occur because adults generally they want power for themselves, and they want a supernatural power to either control the fate of somebody, or supernatural power to know the future, supernatural power to curse somebody, etc. Those kinds of things, they want that power. They consort willingly with the devil to get it. And of course, he can oftentimes not just obsess them, but take possession of them. And of course, how do you protect yourself? Always the same three things: the sacraments in the church, individual prayer, especially prayer to using the name of Jesus, the Blessed Mother, St. Michael, and of course, virtue, extremely important to keep ourselves, as you pointed out, questioner, it really is a matter too of our, we also can indulge evil sufficiently so that actually the devil can become more and more powerful in our lives. And I really, one of the things about pornography that's so fearful sometimes, I think it really is, sometimes just an entryway for the devil, not necessarily to possess us or obsess us, but to kind of, forge a path where he's just breaking down our capacity for virtue.
Right.
And so we want all three of these things. We want virtue, we want definitely the sacraments, we want definitely the prayer, the individual prayer.
Father, you
mentioned
the sacraments, and one of the ones I was wondering in doing some reading about it was the importance of confirmation and courage and fortitude. Is that one of the important sacraments in dealing with something like this?
Yes, it is. Yes. Well, the two most important are, of course, confession and the Holy Eucharist. But confirmation is also an extremely important sacrament. And by the way, with the grace of confirmation, I mean, we don't study this typically, but with the grace of confirmation also comes a grace, to be involved in what's called deliverance ministry, and you can actually, pray to release someone from an obsession by the devil, and that grace, right, to serve God and serve the church in that way, to become part of deliverance ministry. And Catholics, of course, do have deliverance ministry. That would be part of the grace of confirmation.
Right. But
so
we're not
yes,
encouraging people to be going out and we don't want to encourage people to go out and casting demons, of course, but because in certain Protestant ministries there can be there used to be a guy on the radio who used to do it on a regular basis till they found out it was all of a setup. But so we want to make sure people understand that in the right context, right?
Yeah, and also they have to understand what they're doing. I mean, if you get into deliverance ministry, you have to go into an official Catholic deliverance ministry, and you have to be trained, and you have to know what you're doing, and you have to have an appropriate amount of faith and things of that nature. So, I mean, you just can't go around casting out demons because you might be surprised.
Right.
Instead of casting them out, you might find yourself in the midst of them.
Right.
So, I would say don't go there unless you know what in the world you're doing.